Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 96, always available on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And you're joined with your host, Mike and Richy. And I want to keep it very, very natural to tell you guys we just recorded for like 50 minutes, I believe so. And guess what? I did not press the record button. So we just lost every bit of our file. But thankfully for us, we got it.
We're pros.
We're pros, so we got it. So yeah, this is episode 96. We're gonna be talking about the obvious, the elephant in the room, the breaking news from where Mike is, actually in Texas, Dallas.
Yep.
Where you have seen so many angry fans as well. We're going to talk about Luka Dončić heading to the Los Angeles Lakers, the shocker. And the reason why we're saying shocker, because like obviously Luka is probably top 3 best NBA player. And it feels like everyone feels like he left for not too much. So we will be discussing that. We'll also be discussing quickly the De'Aaron Fox and what it means for the Spurs moving forward. This season and long term, and also their gameplay. And also we will end the show with Manchester City that lost big versus Arsenal. What does it mean with the big shocker coming in next week versus Real Madrid in the playoffs at home at the Etihad for the Champions League? And a quick little fun, subtopics and who am I to end the night. So Mike, let's get straight to it. You're gonna give me your like your 3 points of your reaction actually about the trade, which is the Luka Dončić heading to the Lakers, a blockbuster trade. Before you get into your three, your 3 points, let me just list. Luka will be heading to the Lakers with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. And also for the Dallas, they're gonna receive Anthony Davis and Max Christie in the 2029 first round pick. And the Jazz, which is the third team, which will be receiving Jalen Hood, Shifino, and the 2025 second round pick and the Mavericks 2025 second round selection. And Mavericks general manager said, talking about Nico Harrison, the most popular player, the most popular human being right now. He said that defense wins championship, and just mention as well the Dallas Mavericks just coming back from finals. What is your reaction to this trade, and also what is your 3 points that you feel? And also I know you did mention that you don't feel like the Dallas Mavericks is gonna be doing much. They could actually lose the first round. You're gonna talk to me about all those things.
Yeah, I mean the first reaction is like everybody else's is the why, which he tried to respond to in the press conference. Is like, hey, we feel like this aligns with our timeline and what we want to do in terms of defense wins championships. That's the why. The second thing is outside of the why is you just don't trade a 25-year-old 5-time NBA, first team player that, year after year since his rookie season is always in the MVP conversation. Like, you just don't do that. And third, it's like, who asked? And you just went up and proposed them. You served them on a plate to the Lakers and you got nothing in return. So that's those are my 3 reactions to this. It's just the fact that, and just like the memes and the comedy, going around, it's like, hey, Luka is so good. People are acting like Anthony Davis is Hassan Whiteside. Yeah, the kid is just that good. And
and also the age. It's the age as well.
It's
people are treating that trade like as if Anthony Davis is 25.
Yeah. It's the age, it's the timeline, it's the fact that,
and you don't even care if he had a cigarette.
Ryan Russillo said on the Bill Simmons podcast, I don't care if If he's smoking cigarettes, dribbling the ball up the court, hey buddy, when can we sign you to a super max extension? It's like, yeah, man, Luka is 25 years old. He has all the time in the world to actually fix his conditioning issues. The biggest issue with Luka is the fact that he never takes times off. Like he just loves playing basketball, and every summer, once he's done with the playoffs, he gets on a plane and flies to Slovenia to play for his national team. That's his problem. You have to sacrifice that maybe 1 or 2 seasons so that you could go into the summer and work on your body and get your fitness levels right for to in order for you to win an NBA championship. Like, and I feel sorry to say that. Maybe, Jokic is a different player. He's an alien, but he also has other tools around him to actually help him out in terms of like him. When he was able to actually win the one NBA championship, but he faced a Miami Heat team that was unfortunately they were hindered, they were injured. Not to say that the Miami Heat was gonna win, but you know, they were they were injured. If they faced the Celtics, I don't know. Maybe it's a different story. But Luka has to do some work on his conditioning. That's 100% sure. But there's all the time in the world to actually being able to do that. But Nico Harrison, in my opinion, he's just bad at his job, man. At this point right now, I just think that you're a moron. I'm sorry. Like,
And when you get a chance, if you got time and you see an angry fan, get him on that audio, man.
yeah,
Ask
yeah,
him for
but
that reaction. But yeah, in all serious talk, like you did mention something before, and you said that you don't believe the Dallas Mavericks can actually win. I know you said that's not how it depends of the matchup, but
mhm.
you don't actually think they got better, and also you don't actually think they might even get bounced back first round. If like let's say if they counter like a Spurs, a Suns, or whoever is in that floating around that area, like you think that they can still give Dallas Mavericks a trouble.
Yeah, so like why I said that was because of the fact that like how the team is constructed right now.
Okay.
One, your entire identity was built around Luca, right? Um, that's what, like, yeah, the team is playing well right now, like decent basketball.
Yeah.
They're in a solid position.
Yep.
But that's just positioning wise for playoffs. Like, the team has to succeed in the playoffs. That's what you're going to determine your success on. The regular season, outside of that, like, it's whatever, because you just came from a title contention. You just came from the NBA finals. You making the playoffs is just mandatory. Like, it's mandatory. So Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, point guard and four guard. I'm saying four guard, point guard and forward. I just think in today's NBA that's really not enough. No discredit to them. I just think that they just need a third player that's a wing that could actually be able to create for themselves. And I just don't think they have that at the moment. It's no disrespect to them, no disrespect to Klay Thompson. They got some good shooters. They got PJ Washington. They got some good defensive assets. I just don't think for myself it's enough to actually get over the hump.
To me, my 3 points are just like very basic. My first point is I feel like even if you're offering your best player, you have to get more because you have to not only secure your future and also you have to also understand that I'm not saying I'm better than him at his job, obviously, but I don't think it's the same. It's no disrespect to Anthony Davis. We're talking about a big that can shoot, that can defend, who won a championship. People often forget about that. He wasn't just like a guy that was just on the bench or just like not contributing. Like he was part of that team that gave that the Lakers a championship. But this is he's 31 and then the other guy is 25. So value to me is higher on the Luka Dončić. So you got to get more. You got to take care and take advantage of that value, even if you're the one offering, even if you don't think that player cannot help you win the championship because of whatever the reason, as he mentioned about defense. The second point is the Lakers. The Lakers now are also in a window to win because whenever you have a guy like Luka and LeBron James in the team, you are aiming to win a championship. But now LeBron, let's say LeBron retires in 2 years or a year and a half. He's tired of this, like want to spend more time with his wife and his family. You still have Luka Dončić that you can be like, okay, thank you LeBron, but we're gonna pay. Thank you LeBron, but we still have Luka. We can pivot. Like it's not a disaster. You're not coming to the summer with fire in the office because you know you have Luka. The Dallas Mavericks now you open the windows was always open, but now you're in it. Like for 3 years you have to make the playoff. You have to make the playoff. Not only make the playoff, you have to. My third point is that you have to make the playoff and you have to go to the finals this year. Okay, if you don't, you can actually talk about like, okay, maybe we need to reconstruct a team that fits Kyrie and Anthony Davis. But next year you have to make the playoff. You're not. There's no break. You have to make the playoff. So he put a triple pressure on that team. Not that if Luka was still here, there wouldn't be a pressure. But I don't think we're really talking about Dallas Mavericks going to the finals again because of injury and also them not re re like reviving um that identity that they had that playoff last year and going to the finals. So yeah, it's overall I'm not like you said, we're not disrespecting Anthony Davis, but in terms of value, that's crazy that you're just giving up your future like that. We're not receiving anything much. So that's my take on the on that trade. And also when I said not giving much, I know you're getting Anthony Davis and they're still gonna be able to compete, but it's still a, a crazy trade. Yeah. Let's move on to the next trade of that night. Well, the next day, is De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs? They did mention that they were ready to shop him around. I know you have a lot to say about that specific trade, and to me, um, let's actually talk about like the trade itself. Like let's talk about like who's receiving who. The San Antonio is getting obviously they're getting De'Aaron Fox and also they're getting Jordan McLaughlin. Sacramento Kings are getting Zach LaVine, CD Sissoko, 2025 first round pick from the Hornets, 2027 first round pick from the Spurs, 2031 first round pick from the Timberwolves, 2025 second round pick of the Bulls, 2028 second round pick of the Nuggets, and 2028 second round pick of the Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, your team, Mike, is getting Zach Collins, Trey Johns, Kevin Uter, and their own 2025 first round pick. This is the trade. My question for you, you have always been high on the Spurs, especially this season. You said they were going to finish 5th and 6th. Even though like they're like floating around like they're playing like outside of the playoff, but they're not too far away from 8th seed and can still put up and can still like have a push. But now it seems that your take might have more sense because you're adding a dynamic point guard. You can take the floor. Like, how do you feel this is gonna help improve the team overall, and as well if they had like a third option, who could it be to add to complement them?
Uh, I think it fits them well because like we were saying earlier, De'Aaron Fox is a dynamic scorer. Quick, explosive guard that's already pretty much he's a really great point guard as well. Could distribute the ball really well. But yeah, he's a dynamic scorer that's proven at the elite level. I think he scored. No, I don't think he scored 60 in the NBA. I think his high is 57 points, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, De'Aaron Fox is an all-star guard. Gone to the playoffs a couple of times now, I think, with Sabonis. Yeah, so I just think that, in terms of the experience and the youth, yeah, it fits very well with Wemby. I just think it moves the timeline a little bit forward for them, and they should be able to actually make a play-in spot, or even try to force their way up to maybe 7th. But we'll see. That's going to require a lot of a good win streak of them in the Western Conference. But yeah, for me, like, yeah, it's just a no-brainer in terms of like the match. Like, Wemby is a guy that, second year, like, he's having a little bit of fun right now, but then the way that De'Aaron Fox plays, like, he's a very serious pro, in my opinion. Whenever you see him in, like, media, and when he's talking about the game of basketball and, what he wants to accomplish, I just think, like, it fits. It fits. Like, he's not a bad egg.
Hmm.
So, I think, that fits. And, Chris Paul is still there to probably provide a little bit of mentorship.
Yeah.
So in
Can
terms
still
of,
also like contribute to the second unit since they don't if they don't like like if let's say they go the second half of the season like this, obviously they're not gonna I don't think they're gonna win a championship this year, but overall, I feel like yeah, adding Fox is like you said, they move the timeline a little bit. You have a dynamic player that can score, that can facilitate, bring in more speed. And like you didn't mention before, like if like, let's say if they added a guy like OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges as a wing player, and that oof, that would have been the like a cherry in the cake. But overall, I think that this team in general um, is setting themselves for the future. You already have a monster of a player that's like you said probably can become the defensive player of the year this year, and then you add a guy like Fox in that team. I think that can create a lot of issue in the future. As they go, and they're probably gonna add more complementary players around him. But overall, like you said, you get Chris Paul that can still lead the second unit if he doesn't start with that lineup. He can still help the other teams get better. Still like mentoring Wemby. Can also help Fox. I know Fox been in that, but he can also help Fox as well. And yeah, overall, I think like that helps them move out of that red zone and then getting like it's either the play-in tournament or maybe save a seventh seed. Let's move on to the third topic, the last topic of the day. I know you saw it this weekend. A heavy defeat for Manchester City versus Arsenal 5-1, who doesn't really reflect the score overall, but that was a still heavy defeat, and which makes you think a lot about summer buying for Manchester City coming in. I know like they just spent around 200 million euros, and I know there's another 200 that's gonna be spent on the midfield in general. Like that's a major change in that in the Middle East. But like, what was your reaction to the score, and also why do you feel like moving forward that in the playoff, the Champions League as well, that Real Madrid should be able to go through?
well, for the latter part, I just think Manchester City is just too fragile right now. Unfortunately, I just think the team lacks. I just think the team lacks a lot of confidence, and I think I think in the way that Real Madrid plays, especially coming off a defeat right now versus Espanyol at the weekend. I think they should be motivated to come to do well.
Yeah,
Against
yeah,
the City side, none of the players up front played well. Vinicius had a terrible game. Bellingham had a terrible game. Mbappe, Rodrigo,
yeah.
none of them played well. So I think they'll be motivated to actually rectify that and then be better. But yeah, Manchester City is really fragile at the moment. When it comes to the game. I expected a loss. I didn't expect a heavy defeat. But if I'm being perfectly honest, like again, we discussed this earlier, is the fact that I don't think the scoreline actually reflected the game, in my opinion. I think yes, there are a lot of mistakes that Manchester City did. Yes, they were overwhelmed in midfield, but those last four goals that they took, after they tied the game, deflection off a shot, like, poor clearance, deflection off a shot from Thomas Partey. Ortega can't do anything. Luis Skelly dribbles past, most of their defense, gets a shot
And
off.
the last one was the one that like you're like, come on, bro.
Yeah, it gets a little deflection as
Mhm.
well from the Skelly shot. I think Ortega should have done better.
Yeah,
The Kai Havertz one, um, you know, it's a good placement. I think that goal cool. That goal cool. Like there's probably not much that you could do from there. But the last goal for the Eto'o Nwaneri goal, it's like, yeah, I understand that he placed it well. Like it's a good, well, how do you? I can't even say it in English, but a good curled shot. That's what it is. A
Yeah,
good curled
yeah.
shot. But in the way that he doesn't even try and like give up, it's just like that's why I said like whatever beef Pep got going on with,
Squash it.
he needs to squash it with Ederson. Like, he wasn't on the bench. I don't know if he's injured at the moment, but I've seen Ortega play other games and he's made some pretty bad mistakes as well in some other games, especially with playing the ball with his foot. You know, I think for the time being, until Ederson leaves, he needs to be your number one goalkeeper. Like it can't be Ortega. I'm sorry, man. Like he was really really poor. I understand the team is playing bad. The defense let him down. The midfield is letting your team down as well. But that's up to you. That's your selection and how you set up your team.
Yeah.
But I think overall Ortega should be better in goal.
I think overall, like you said, defensively they were poor, and I didn't really like the way Kovacic played that position. I feel like he's a little bit slow releasing the ball sometimes, and the midfield as well. Like for example, the Marmoush position. Um, like you said, you thought Marmoush at first when you saw the lineup, you thought he was like, oh, is it a 4-4-2 and Marmoush playing next to him? I think Marmoush to be excellent, he has to have space. And if you don't give him space, I don't think it's not like okay, every soccer player has a technique that they can play and they might be able to play in tight spaces, but to me, he didn't know how to receive the ball in those tight places. And then he was not gonna, like you said, he was not gonna get it sometimes of um the runs he made. But overall, I feel like this is not the right position for him where they placed him. But I think I understand why he was put because they probably wanted to match. Because like Guardiola knows that his midfield is very fragile. He wanted to match the intensity of the game in the midfield. We saw against Paris Saint-Germain how and due to physicality intense they were zero. And again they were zero again. That's probably why he didn't start Kevin De Bruyne with those personnel as well because it would have been a disaster again. But yeah, like if you want to have the best of him, he has to play in more space. But overall, um, a poor Manchester City, and I can see a lot of buying coming in, like Rich Nurse from AC Milan is probably in the docket. Yeah, so the midfield is gonna be reconstructed because like I don't see them winning the. Even though we did laugh about it, I'd be like, yeah, watch them come back and win the Premier League. I don't. I we 100% sure that's not gonna happen anymore because the team is too fragile. Coming next week, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't want to say anything. I will leave that for you guys. Yeah. Let's let's wrap up for the topics and let's go to the quick reactions. Um, the first one is one that you're gonna like. Rashford has signed on a loan for Aston Villa. Quick reaction.
uh, you know, good to get away from the saga, finally, and wish him the best of luck. And I think he's going to be successful at if he gets some good opportunities at Villa. I think he's going to be really successful. I think this team is
Also
lined up.
relieving a lot of pressure for you guys not to be able to answer a question about Rashford every weekend.
Yeah, our team is terrible already, and it's never even about the team's performance. Every question is always about Marcus
Oh yeah.
Rashford. It's
It's
not.
the reaction. Like
Yeah.
these journalists, they want that. They'll be like, "This is the
Yeah.
juice." Like I want to see what Amorim is gonna say, and Amorim's been given a lot of things, so
Yep.
he's been getting every weekend he's giving something different about Rashford. So hey, why not ask? Asensio also making his way into Aston Villa. What do you feel about that one?
I just think it's Unai really just going for quality to fill up the squad.
To fill up the squad, yeah,
I don't
there's
think
gonna be a lot of
Asensio.
games,
Yeah, I don't think Asensio is going to be a starter or anything like that. It's
so it's
just
gonna
like,
be a similar. Well, you think it's gonna be a similar situation with Paris, but in Paris he doesn't really play a lot at all,
yeah, I think he'll, I think
on
he'll
and
be,
off.
he'll be rotation. Like he'll
Okay,
play, he'll play games, but he won't
he's not
be.
coming hot as Rashford.
Yeah,
No, he's
it's
not the
not.
story.
Yeah, he's probably going to be playing like 30 minutes a game, maybe.
Oh, that's more than
Yeah.
enough because he hasn't. He's not even playing right now, so should be grateful with that one. Um, the Derby Milano. How do you feel about that?
Pretty damn good game. I'm glad that
The tie happened.
The tie happened in the end because it wasn't for Milan to beat Inter three times this season. It wouldn't have been a reflection of how the ties actually went. I don't even think, in the final, for example, they were leading 2-0 and then they were able to complete a comeback. But in this game, yeah, I think Inter actually, were well were well placed actually when they were pretty unlucky. I think they hit the post like 3 times in the game. And, thankfully in the end they were able to get the equalizer.
And I also think that a guy like Liao, like I was mentioned, like he's such an explosive quality player. And I saw one of the counter attack where few players were waiting for him to pass the ball and he took a weird shot. And I think he's gonna have a lot of issue with the coach because his coach is not playing around. So he's gonna have to be mentally strong because he's a hell of a player. He's just not consistent. Um, Mitchell Robinson practice is clear to full practice.
I mean, good for him, man. He's been
Mike
out
said,
for
I don't
so
care.
long. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just that
It's
I
such an
don't know,
injury point,
man.
you know it's gonna happen again.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
let's move on. Let's move on. The last one is not so much of a who am I anymore because he already knows who
hmm
that player is. But it was just like it was just a fun joke about Nico Harrison that we had. I wish I had the clip. I wish I had the audio because it was so perfect. Because like it was like what did I say? Like I said that this player like he played. Well, he's not a player actually,
Yeah.
but he's around an NBA.
hmm
This person played 7 years pro in Belgium, 2 years in Japan, and 1 year in Beirut, if I'm not mistaken. And he's known for his defense. And fun fact was like when I was telling Mike, because he was talking about Nico Gonzalez going to City, I'm like, this person has the same name as the person that you just mentioned. But he couldn't find it, but it was Nico Harrison. But unfortunately, this joke is not gonna matter for whoever's listening right now because it mattered in the lost files. But yeah. But Mike, I appreciate you sticking around
No
for
doubt.
extra 20 minutes because I lost all the files.
No doubt.
Oof, next week is gonna be good because we have the Champions League playoffs. We have Premier League and La Liga and Ligue 1. Oh, La Ligue 1. Wanted to also touch base on quickly the Derby de l'Olympique. Finished 3-2. Same score than the when they play at Lyon, but this time it was at the Velodrome and it finished 3-2. It was very dominated by Marseille. Marseille has more tools right now, is more established than Lyon. Lyon just changed coach. They have Paulo Fonseca, who's back in the Ligue 1, who's gonna have a lot of work because he's not actually sure which players is gonna stay. Cherki might be out, Fofana might be out. It's interesting to see. But it was a good victory because I feel like both teams were scared of the moment, but Velodrome was behind their players, behind the coach, and they had the result. Now they're 3 points clear of the third, which is Monaco. So, because we know like the goal of Marseille is finish second and go in the Champions League. Because first position is a wrap already. But that's what I wasn't to touch base. This was episode 96. Always available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. Like, subscribe, and thank you for always tuning in. And always comment and reach us on X. Or X handles are gonna be in the comments. And any last word, Mike?
Like I said earlier, man, good luck to Ruben Amorim.
And also good luck to Nico Harrison too.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. All right.
No. No good luck to
No.
that guy. No.
All right. Thank you very much. Peace.
Peace.